When Princess Diana's baby boy fell in love with a gorgeous American starlet, we all went, ah. Then things got even better. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were married and in doing so took on the role of Duke and Duchess of the world. But now something has happened. The couple appear to want a little privacy. Too much to ask? You bet. The public feel cheated, the tabloids have turned, and the blame game, much of it directed at Meghan, is fierce. It hasn't yet progressed to off with her head, but it's still a major headache for the royal family. It started so well. A dashing prince with the love of his life. The announcement of an engagement.
It's beautiful, and he designed it. It's incredible.
And plans for a wedding. Sure, there were a few hiccups.
She's not going to tell me that I can't speak.
In-laws acting like outlaws.
If I had a message for Harry, it's get over it. I'm your new father-in-law.
But as Meghan Markle walked down the aisle to be with Prince Harry, the whole world was happy. Fast forward 15 months, the fairy tale has fractured. And one person is copping all the blame. Andrew, what on earth has Meghan done?
Well, Meghan seems to be a version of the Antichrist as far as Fleet Street are concerned. And it's almost a royal rite of passage you've got to go through.
Andrew Morton has spent a lifetime making the private lives of the royal family public. But he reckons Meghan Markle bashing has gone too far.
You don't know what's going on, really. And yet the kind of casual vituperation of Meghan and Harry is, it makes you shudder. I mean, it's not like she's done anything wrong. She's just basically living her life as a royal. In my view, she's done everything right.
It's quite revealing that Meghan said when she joined the royal family that she was going to hit the ground running.
Unlike Morton, former palace insider Patrick Jeffson says Meghan needs work to make it as a royal.
Now, of course, we love people who hit the ground running. Energy, enthusiasm, motivation, let's do it. But you've got to know where you're running to and who's running with you. And what are you going to say when you get there?
At what should be the happiest time of the newlyweds' lives, things have gone famously awry for Meghan, and in turn, Harry too. Eyebrows were first raised when taxpayers funded their $4 million house reno.
The Duke and Duchess have been criticised for demanding privacy, yet still accepting taxpayers' money for renovations on their home.
More tut-tutting when the couple kept little Archie away from public view.
I mean, they could have come out in a glass carriage just to show us the baby in the christening gown.
Then Meghan was slammed for acting like a snob at the tennis.
This is not a private visit. If you're the Duchess of Sussex getting a freebie at Wimbledon in the VIP seat, it's not a private visit.
And now, a further frenzy of outrage because these eco-warriors like to travel in style.
A lot of people have labelled them hypocrites because they've taken 4 private jet flights in just 11 days.
Andrew Morton says it's just not worth the hot air.
It seems to me that Meghan really should be given applause, not and bouquets, rather than the attacks that she and Harry are suffering from.
I don't think they're listening to you, though.
Who's they?
Well, the press. Has she really provoked the British media so badly?
The British media are notoriously fickle. They have an antenna for when the royal family is not being entirely straight with them. And this may be why Meghan and other members of the family have taken far more control of their own image.
mean, look at all these tourists here.
A lot of people, and it's a sunny day.
Yeah. Well, you know who they've come to see, Harry and Meg's.
They've not come to see Harry and Meg's. They've come to see the Queen. They've come to pay respect to the great British tradition of the monarchy. They've come to see real royals.
Outside the gates of the world's most famous family home, today there's only one winner in a popularity poll about young royal wives.
Kate is a billion times better.
Meghan does not hold a candle to Kate.
I'm here with British commentator Katie Hopkins. Meghan's interesting.
No, she's fickle, she's of the moment, she's this deep.
Who says someone has to speak for the commoners and expose the real Meghan Markle. Katie, why do you hate Meghan so much? What has she ever done to you?
Everything. It's my royal family, this is my country. Prince Harry is my Prince Harry.
So you're jealous?
I'm not jealous of Meghan. Who wants to be Meghan Markle? Like, I'm unpopular. I'm known as the biggest bitch in Britain. The only person in Britain who's more unpopular than me, Meghan Markle.
I don't think that's right.
I think that's true.
Katie is nothing if not outspoken, but she genuinely believes the future of the royal family is at stake unless Meghan Markle is banished forthwith.
Meghan Markle is the biggest hypocrite there is. What does Meghan Markle do? Oh, we've got to save the planet, save the planet. Oh, do one good thing every day. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Then what does she do? Get on 4 private flights to wherever land at £400,000 a week hire, and then uses up half the CO2 emissions that anyone else might have had. It's pure hypocrisy. And what is she really? She's a no one. She's a divorcee. When did we want a divorcee in the royal family? She wears bad clothes. When did we ask for that? We've just got so much better of our own. You know,
strong words, maybe some embellishment, but here in Britain, it's backed up by Meghan's disapproval ratings. A recent survey found the Duchess divisive and ranked her the second most disliked female royal after Camilla.
There were knackered old sceptics like me, old haggard women going, oh, that doesn't look very good. And then sort of the young, beautiful people going, oh, we love her social media, oh, fabulous, fabulous Beyonce. That's the split. And the haggard ones have got even more entrenched in their hatred. And I think even the young ones are sceptical because Prince Harry's lost all of his va-va-voom.
What irks Katie is the damage she thinks Meghan is causing to Harry's reputation. Maybe Harry doesn't give a stuff when anyone thinks he's just chosen someone for himself, and maybe he's sick of the media, and maybe he doesn't like people like you having a running commentary on his life. It is his life.
Sort of, but then again, I just paid £2.3 million as a taxpayer in order to redevelop Frogmere Cottage for him and his wife. I just paid for his wife to sit in the royal box at Wimbledon.
That went well.
Yeah, that was splendid. She wouldn't let anyone take a photograph of herself and ask to be sat alone. So give and take, go leave the royal family, abdicate, whoop, whoop, off you go.
My concern about Meghan is that she's allowing her PR to be driven from America. So her American friends, her American court, as you will, Oprah, George Clooney, Amal Clooney, Serena Williams, all standing up for her, which is good. But it's from the perspective of America as opposed to the perspective of Britain.
Andrew Morton famously wrote a bestseller about Harry's mum, Princess Diana. And in Meghan Markle, he sees history repeating itself.
I remember Princess Diana, she was called the fairy tale princess when she first married Prince Charles. Within a year, she's been called a fiend and a monster because a lot of members of staff, bodyguards, valet, private secretaries had left. Fergie, Duchess of York, starts off as a breath of fresh air, great friend of the Queen, goes carriage driving, goes horse riding with the Queen and Prince Philip. And then within a matter of months, she's dubbed Freebie Fergie because she asked for a discount on a kitchen. So, you know, this is what's happened.
As colourful as the British royal family's always been, their whiteness has dominated. And that brings us to a sensitive subject.
I think that's where people go with this. If I criticise Meghan, as we can hear I am, people say, well, you're racist. And honestly, it's not even a second thought to me. It only comes up in the minds of those who are truly racist, and that's never people like me. I'm just observing the dress is better on Kate, how she wears it is better. So this racist thing is really old and tired, but I think it's just people's way of sort of saying, you must not criticise Meghan.
I think the whole racial question is entirely misleading. It's irrelevant. And I would warn against anybody taking that line as any sort of explanation as to why Meghan sometimes doesn't get the press she necessarily wants.
Even Prince Harry played the racism card to an extent.
Yeah, and I advised strongly against him doing that.
Did you?
Yeah. If you take that point of view, then you're going to miss perhaps some more relevant reasons to why Meghan isn't as popular as she should be.
For 8 years, Patrick Jeffson was Princess Diana's private secretary. He saw the pressure public scrutiny brings, but says, like Diana did, the modern royals must learn to cope with it.
It's confusing for her, I'm sure. Royal life is very similar to celebrity life, but celebrity lives are earned. Royal lives are granted.
Coming up,
I am the luckiest girl in the world.
forgotten friends come back to bite. You're just a jilted friend.
I'm not a jilted friend, I promise, I'm not.
And can the ghost of Diana save Harry and Meghan's fractured fairy tale?
Meghan doesn't need to look anywhere else but at the legacy of her mother-in-law.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
I am not dissing the dirt on Meghan, not at all. I'm being honest. As a friend and someone that knew her before Harry, knew her. I didn't even know she was famous when I met her. I didn't know who she was.
And we'll never be royals.
With so-called friends like British media personality Lizzie Cundy, Meghan Markle probably doesn't need enemies.
What did you think of her?
I thought she was great fun, looking for a guy. She loved England.
She says they were great buddies before Meghan met Harry.
She said she wanted a boyfriend, she wanted a celebrity boyfriend, and never, in my wildest dreams would I ever think that she would end up marrying Prince Harry.
But when Meghan joined the firm, this Lizzie was dumped in favour of another.
I think Meghan changed to a girl that maybe was more manipulating and doing what Meghan wants to do. I kind of saw a different side.
Come on, you're just a jilted friend.
I'm not a jilted friend, I promise. I'm not. I'm really not a jilted friend at all. But I feel that they could do things so much better. I don't think you can lecture about the planet and then take 4 private jets. I wanted her to be the next Princess Diana. I think she still can be. But Princess Diana was about everyone else. And it appears that Meghan is about Meghan a lot of the time.
And here's another problem for Meghan. Could anyone live up to the memory of the mother-in-law from heaven? Princess Diana's former private secretary, Patrick Jeffson, says, in the eyes of the British public, it's an almost impossible task, but it could be the key to winning Meghan's PR battle.
She was in the business of life and death, of dealing with people regardless of race or gender or background, who were at the bottom of the heap, whose lives were miserable. People who were stigmatized, people who were outsiders, outcasts. So today, AIDS isn't stigmatized, leprosy isn't stigmatized, mental illness is transformed. All Diana's work.
So what you're saying is that Meghan doesn't need to look anywhere else but at the legacy of her mother-in-law.
Meghan isn't and never has been an ordinary British person. So part of her challenge is to work out what it feels like, what it is to be an ordinary British person, and not to be one, but to understand, therefore, how best to use her extraordinary influence and high profile.
So what's the blueprint then for Meghan to be a success?
The blueprint involves not doing more, but probably doing less. She is, after all, wife of the 6th in line to the throne. That means that she is constitutionally irrelevant. However...
That's not a very nice way of putting it.
However, she is obviously very high profile. And that combination has never really happened before.
Back at Buckingham Palace, Katie Hopkins is still railing against Meghan. But there's also an admission, an economic Markle sparkle. Harry and Meg's are new money. I can almost hear the tills.
Yes, they are new money. And I do think in terms of a new kind of era of profitability, the social media generation for the royal family and all of that, of course, Markle's got that sewn up. But this is what it's all about.
Hang on a second.
I nearly said something nice about Markle.
You concede that she's good for royal business.
No, she's good for business. She's good for Meghan Markle's business.
Now, while Meghan trashing seems to be a popular sport at the moment, it also pays to remember her greatest supporter is also a great warrior.
I think Harry's the most interesting part of this whole story.
So true.
He's doing his own thing.
True.
He's almost winding everyone up, going, come get me, because I'm after a fight.
Oh, this is so true. And it is very much like he is just determined to go anti-establishment. He's flicking the V sign to everything that he was brought up by.
So it's not Meghan, it's Harry's fault.
It's Harry, but Harry is redeemable because Harry was in a uniform and he was in a helicopter and he was in Afghanistan. Meghan was only ever in cheap movies.
In reality, the fate of the royal family doesn't rest on Harry or Meghan. There's an order of things and traditions one person can't make or break.
Do you think Harry wants out?
Well, he's always said that, if he could, he'd love to be a safari guide. And I'm sure that he does think to himself, what on earth am I doing this for sometimes? But at the end of the day, Catherine's going to be the Queen and Meghan is going to always have to curtsy to her.
Will there be any dramas there?
Oh, there's always going to be dramas. I mean, but everything is geared towards turning the House of Windsor into a soap opera.
Hello, I'm Liz Hayes. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.